So this is Sadia, guys, and today it's lecture number three of people in organizations. I would like either of you guys, like obviously Muhammad and Ami is together, so I'm just like counting the accounts here to tell me what do we usually study in people in organizations.
It's basically about how we manage them, like leadership also, or how what is the like environment there, how we're going to manage them in different sort of scenarios.
Right, Imad, or Amin, I guess if I'm not taking that name wrong. People in organizations is mostly related to HR, not just HR, but it will also be talking. We'll also be talking about different, things. For example, how humans, like how people interact at workplace with each other, the workplace politics, the structure, the culture of organizations, and everything that concerns people in organizations, people that work in organizations, people that run organizations. Uh, yeah, so mostly everything. It may include how the ways they interact, the way they work, the way people they form the culture of an organization. Obviously, structure is something which is predefined, but culture is something that is characterized by people that work in an organization. If it's a startup, then it really depends upon what momentum, what morale do the people who are already working on it, in who are working or who did the startup, who uh, came up with the business idea and who are in the process of implementing it, are taking it, are making it. So that is how, and that is what we really talk about. It won't be about hiding or fighting or the what do we say? The hiding procedures are there. The training programs not really. So where we talk about human resource, how we gather the human resource, how we procure is a wrong term, but how we hire people. The advertisement, the training programs. Then we have like performance things and all of that. So case is that. Moving on to the next slide. So this is the section name and numbers. These are the 4 points that we'll be mainly touching upon. We'll be mainly discussing these in detail. Understand issues associated with work, with remote working. So this chapter would mainly be revolving about around how people work in remote how what are the issues that people face when they work in remote environments. We This is the era of you know of what do we say, collaborative work or collaborative learning. I don't know about the other countries. I do obviously, but especially in Pakistan, we have seen a big paradigm shift. Businesses have gone from physical to online platforms. So, but it's not like remote work seems easy. But again, there are a lot of things that not it's not about investing in technology, investing in other things, but it's also about people. How does it affect people, and what are some of the things that people face when they're working in remote environment? Do they get that environment is totally different from how we work in a physical office space. You do get to meet people, and those problems are totally different. There are problems. It's not like they're not. You don't um, get to experience such things, experience problems, not such things. But it's more about you do feel sometimes, for example, if interaction leads to workplace politics or conflicts or maybe friendships or other things, then at the same time remote work leads to things like loneliness, like not that sort of what do we say, you don't get your skills don't get polished that much, especially the way we meet people. That is something, diplomacy is something that you learn with by going to work and working in a physical office space. Explain the implications of different ways in which people work remotely. So we'll be studying about those as well. What are the implications, what are the effects of how of the different ways in which people work remotely, and then we'll be moving on to evaluate common working practices used by those working remotely in different contexts. So working practices would be there. How do we work? Maybe what channels do we use, and or what are the models that we usually follow, and then analyze the leadership styles suitable for remote working. So when we talk about an office space, so we obviously know that there could be like a dictatorial thing, or an autocratic system, or a participative thing, or etc etc. But what are some of the models, or what are some of the leadership styles that we follow in, or are there any leadership styles identified for working in a remote environment? And why are we studying about remote work, or about people working remotely? Is because today we see a big change in businesses. Today we see a global change, like a mega change, a drastic change in how businesses work, in how people work, in how trade works, and in how all of this thing, all of this works. So yes. So moving on to the next slide, can we? So starting off with this one, explain the implications of the different ways in which people work remotely. So as I said, uh, it's not a big, if you're not investing in a real office space, then it's not like you're saving costs. You may be saving costs in a lot of businesses, in a lot of areas, in a lot of aspects, but you have to invest in technology. You get to. And even the jobs that I get, it all started with us, with me looking, with me every day getting advertisements of remotely, remote work. But the candidate, or the potential candidate must have a laptop, or a working, a functional headphone set or earset, whatever that is called. So and everyone, and trust me, not kidding, for the longest, I did not have a laptop. I got my laptop in my final year, not final, I actually second last year of my CBA. So before that, I don't know whether it's a surprise to you or not, but like today I see kids having laptops and all the gadgets, the essential and non-essential gadgets with them. So it was not like my parents couldn't do this for me, but it was like I never felt the need of having a laptop until I came across these jobs where they wanted people or candidates to have like full-fledged system. So you gotta invest in technology. Then it's feeling remote and lonely. This is one of the effects of working remotely. You do feel lonely, obviously, when you don't work with colleagues, and for 7 to 8 hours you have to work on your own. You have to, maybe most of the time in Pakistan, the remote work is like you gotta work in the night hours, and you can do it from home. But there is loneliness. You don't, uh, be it remote work, be it office work. But today I think both are being paid well. Both formats are being paid well. But in the office work thing, you get to meet people. People have the ability to uplift your mood, or ruin your mood, spoil your mood, or make you happy, make you sad. But that you don't get those when you're alone. And loneliness sometimes leads to depression or things like such. You fall prey to overthinking and such things. Doesn't happen every day or all the time. I'm not saying that obviously everyone who's gonna work from home, or who's working remotely, will experience all this. No, people do enjoy their work. Sometimes there's online conferencing. Sometimes it's about making calls. But for me personally, I know no one asked, but it has to be, anything that I do, it has to be about people. If I want to study, I want myself to study in an environment where there are other people involved as well. If I want to work, I don't want to work from home. I don't want to work remotely. I don't want to work in a room that only has me. Nah, that's a big turn off for me. I want to work with people. I want to know people. I want to engage with people. I want to learn from them and unlearn while looking at them. Then challenges with communication. Well, obviously, you know, um, if you're working from home, that does not mean that you'll be working for your own community or for your own people. If I'm working from Pakistan, I could be working for Chinese, so there could be language barriers. Then there are different time zones which is mentioned. onwards, then you it's about challenges, and it's about not about not polishing such skills. When you work from home, you don't get to meet people, and from meeting people, from experiencing you know from experience how it feels to be with people, to work with people, you get to nourish your skills, and your people skills bloom, your diplomacy blooms, which does not happen in communication. And so if you're working from home, so sometimes it may be like, if you're an introvert, you will be an introvert. um yeah. So can you guys name any of the challenges that people may be working remotely when it comes to communication?
Maybe there would be some like trust issues.
Say what?
Maybe there could be some trust issues.
Yeah, true. What else?
And then when you're working remotely, there will be like, when there's a network issue, then there's a glitch. You miss some parts, you miss some bits.
Yes, yes, Imad.
And I also think it could be a little pricey as well. Like the first one, technology. It's like in everything else, even good net, a good speaker, webcam, everything included.
Yes, you're right, obviously. So where was I?
Excuse
Wait.
me, ma'am.
Okay, so yes, Hira said, it's could be trust issues, then could be miscommunication, and then obviously you don't get to meet people physically, so there is lack of you're not able to develop your people skill, which is something very important for people working in organizations. And then if you're that could also become or that could be your shortfall when you don't have the right technology or the right gadgets or the right instruments. For example, Pakistan, we suffer from good internet, from lack of good internet. So it's if they are saying that you have to be there for 24/7 or from this time to this to that time, so you can't trust internet here. So these are some of the things that we do face. There could be 1,000 more. Okay. Challenges. Okay, working in different time zones. Well, that is, as I said, if I'm working for China or for America, so there are different time zones for America if you're working. So we have to start at, usually here the remote work timing start from 6 onwards or 12 onwards, or that is how it works. And then different ways of behaving and doing things. Well, obviously there are you know it's very different from how you work in a physical office space, in a physical workspace, where you report directly to people and you get orders directly, or the information is disseminated to everyone, and different via different ways, via deploying different ways. But this is it works very different. um there are it's very different from how the dissemination of information, that process is different. Whom you report, how you report, all of that, it's really different. The entire structure may be same, but the way you communicate with each other, and communication is where um, is the foundation of everything. You gotta communicate with your colleagues, with your people. You can't work being silent and you know keeping it to yourself. You have to, even if you, for example, completed your task, you have to submit it to the people, or you have to show your progress in some way, be it an Excel sheet, be it a Word, or any other platform. So that is how. Time management and a regular hours. So time management is sometimes maybe difficult because remote work means working off hours, or not working in an office space, working from home, or working from wherever it's feasible for you to work while you're doing other things also. So that is also something, an implication of the different ways in which people work remotely. So for employers, these are the implications, the nature of team communication. So, and then there is workplace. Hira, can you tell me what they tend to say with this?
For the employees one,
Yes, so they've described, implications, the conclusions that we can draw, or the effects of working due to working remotely. So for employers, these could be the things that we could, lead to the results, and for workers, this could be the thing. So for workers, it could be productivity, flexibility, work-life balance. As I said earlier, if it's feasible for you, you're working remotely. So work-life balance comes from there. And flexibility, it's very much flexible. It's feasible for you, do it. For example, this job for me is very much feasible. If I don't have time, okay, this is actually very remote, but like, I'm given like 100% flexibility. If I'm not available, I can, communicate it to the coordinator or the head, and it's like, okay, no questions asked thing. Productivity, when, productivity in the sense, obviously there are shortfalls as well, but productivity in the sense, for example, I can work best at this time when I don't have other things to do, when I don't have to look after for other, tasks or jobs, or for example, I don't have a house, any house chores, or if I'm studying, if I'm a student, so I could choose the hours which are suitable for me to work. So that is how productivity comes in also, that you work when you have time, when you have ample time, with peace, and with mental peace, and with ample space, and freshness of mind. And for employers, the nature of team communication, well, this is the implication in workplace needs. Well, obviously for employers, the thing is, they, whenever, for example, I'm an employer, I run an organization, so obviously there are workplace needs. So this could be an implication. If I am running something which is remote, so there are a lot of things that you're handling, not from being in an organization, but from working anywhere in the world. I could be in the A corner of the world, my employees could be from the B, C, D, E, F corners of the world, or centers of the world. So it becomes pretty hard to manage all of that. And the nature of team communication, what is the nature of team communication? How do you disseminate messages again? What is the flow of communication, who reports to whom, and how, in what ways do we communicate to each other when we are not working face to face, when there are no real documents, when there is no hard copy of anything, a hard report or anything else. For employers, it's also, it's easier. For example, if I want to run a business and I want someone else to handle it while I'm doing something, or I'm doing a job, or maybe other business, so it's easier. It really depends upon how you look at it. There are pros, there are cons. So it's, remote work, it's easier as compared to, they see, people see, we saw it as something which is much more flexible and easier for both. But then there are implications, the cons as well. So next we have evaluate common working practices used by those working remotely in different contexts. So teleconferencing is one thing, where we conference via, using internet. Everything here has internet. Okay? Webinars, webinar is something where, using web, you conduct seminars. I can, have like a workforce of 70 people, and I'll be conducting, I can brief you upon something. Not brief, actually, webinars are mostly regarding, when you want to spread awareness or raise awareness about something. So maybe if I want to introduce something new, or any new policy, I can conduct a webinar. Flexible hours, for example, around personal commitments. So, you work in flexible hours. These are the common working practices. For example, if 2 to 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. PST suits me, then I'll work on those hours. It's no at the if in 24 hours I have to submit a report of 300 words, or um, especially if we talk about content writing these days, so, or freelancing these days. So that is what we are talking about here. If I have 2 hours, for example, today, I have time from 12 to 1. Tomorrow I may get time from 3 to 4. So when you don't have regular hours, and when you don't get, consistent hours of working throughout a week or month, then you get to choose flexible hours for yourself. And that is what happens in working remotely, which is mostly about freelancing. Regular updates, meetings. So you obviously update your, superiors, your subordinates, and you meet with them, so that you share your progress constantly. Now there are obviously systems, and there are softwares where, we will constantly update their progress, so that the others know where they stand in an organization, or where do they stand in the progress. Then we have Skype, which is pretty much known to everyone. Email, and then travel. Then you can obviously travel from places to places. For example, if I am targeting the Pakistani market, then or for example, if someone from China wants to start a business in a remote business in Pakistan, then he may come to Pakistan and do work from here, or you can work from anywhere around the world as long as you have good internet and the necessary gadgets.
Yes, ma'am.
Nowadays, we are also using Facebook. We are using WhatsApp. These are pretty much simple and the most prominent examples in front of us. Instagram has also become a workspace for people. So any platform that is on the internet is now being used for business purposes. Okay, analyze the leadership styles suitable for remote working. Leadership style. Now here we're gonna talk about three theories: MC, this Gregor theory, theory X, theory Y, empowerment, and Herzberg motivators and hygiene factors. So theory X, theory Y, which is like the Gregor theory. Uh, why are we studying here is because they are related to human work. How are they managed, how are humans. So here we were talking about the three theories: MC Gregor theory, empowerment, and the last one, motivators and hygiene factors. So the three of them, I'd say the three of them is kind of like similar to each other. But starting from the first one, MC Gregor theory, which is the theory of which is how we say it's called theory X and theory Y. So theory X, theory Y, it's like theory of human work, motivation, and management. It was created by Douglas MC Gregor, and we gonna study it onwards. So basically, this theory is about theory X and theory Y. So uh, the former, which is like the X, assumes that people are motivated primarily by external rewards. This is how I want you guys to remember: external rewards and internal rewards. Can someone tell me what is internal reward?
I'm not sure if my answer is right or not, or maybe I'm asking something very stupid, but I think it's the what am I supposed to say? This energy or
So external rewards are something, uh, you know, uh, I think from an employee point of view. Okay, if you're an employee, so what would be an external reward for you? If I do something right, the external reward could be money, could be my status, which is like my promotion, could be financial rewards or something that can upgrade my lifestyle. Whereas internal a reward could be like, if I do something right, so it would be like, if I learned something new, so it would be like, oh yay, like I know this. So it would be like a self achievement, an internal achievement, as increase in self you could say esteem, and being more capable. So that is the difference. So again, repeating it for you: theory X assumes that people are motivated by primarily by external rewards, which is money, status, and theory Y assumes that they are motivated by internal rewards, achievement, self-esteem, etc., etc. So can we move on to the next slide?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, the theory X assumption, the assumption that employees dislike work, are lazy, dislike responsibility, and must be coerced to perform. So, coerced to perform in a way that either you force them or either you put certain incentives for them. Just the way I told you, it could be promotion, it could be financial benefits. And theory Y. Now, these are some of the that is how we started. The way I explain to you guys about internal and external rewards. So when people dislike responsibility, so they are given certain you could say rewards. The financial, the practical, not the practical, what do we say, the physical things, which could just bring a change in your lifestyle or change your life in a way. So, and then there is theory Y, the assumption that employees like work, are creative, seek responsibility, and can exercise self-direction. Why do we say self-direction? Because it's irrespective of the financial rewards. There are a lot of people that I have personally seen in my life who would give anything to make other people happy, happy, or not. It's not always about making other people happy, but it's also about self satisfaction, that I really did something good for others, good for someone. Could be parents, could be siblings, could be friends, could be anyone. So, and honestly, these days I have like met a person who was like, you know what, we give him a problem, or anyone who enters and be like, I have this issue, and he's like, don't worry, I have the solution, I can do it for you, I can do it all. He has that I can do it all attitude, which is very optimistic, by the way. So they want to improve. They don't seek for validations. Sometimes they do, but the ones that do not seek for validations, they seek for self approvals and self esteem and all of them. Those kind of people are mostly more, successful. So theory X, manager beliefs, and theory Y, manager beliefs. So employees dislike work, avoid responsibility. We've started this already. Emphasis on continuous monitoring and supervision. Well, when there are extrinsic benefits or extrinsic rewards involved, then you need to have strict supervision and surveillance and monitoring. Rewards or punishments are used for motivating employees. Either you'd be demoted, or your salary would be cut, or things like such, or you won't be given bonus. So these are some of the you could say motivators for them. And management believes employees work is based on their own self-interest. So they definitely do believe, if they're interested, they do it. We versus they, relation between management and employees. This is the kind of relation. Management is we, and that is how they refer. They do not consider themselves as a team. If certain someone is doing something, it's because he is getting paid for it. It's not like he personally wants this organization to work well. Obviously this is very rude to put it that way, but that is how the mentality goes. Versus what we see in Y is employees are self-motivated, enjoys their work, and ready to take more responsibility, ready to take more challenges. They think out of the box, they want to think creatively, they want to do good for the organization. Believes that employees can work without supervision, because obviously they are responsible. They hold themselves accountable for everything that they do. They hold themselves answerable for everything that they do. They're not involved in the blame game. And this is kind of like very this I don't know, but like I think only happens in fantasies. Giving more responsibility and empowering to take decisions are used for motivating employees. So when this is also something which is used as a tactic to motivate people into doing something. When you know when you give them something to do, a task to do, and when you make them responsible for a task, when you make them the leader of a task, so that is how you share the responsibility. You not share, but you transfer the responsibility and you empower them. That is a sign of empowerment. If I you know if people if my boss thinks that I'm doing something right and he makes me the leader, being becoming a leader does not mean that I have like a raise in pay, or I'd get a bonus, or I'd get something else, or other benefits, maybe facilities, or the job benefits. No, it just means that I'm gonna getting extra duties. So that also makes me happy. So I don't know who else, but I'm gonna ask you guys too. Collaborative and cordial relations between management and employees, because they think as we. They do not. They work as we. If certain employee is doing something, that is because he or she also wants the entire organization to succeed in the longer run, and not just work for their own self-interest or self-benefits. Now all of you are supposed to open your mics and tell me, what according what do you think, in your opinion, is your style of leadership? Do you fall under the X manager beliefs, or or theory Y?
Theory Y is very interesting, I believe. Theory
Right.
Y,
I-
I'm more inclined towards theory.
awesome. Okay, but by the way, Hira, does it make sense to you? Do you understand what is theory X, theory Y, what is Gregor's theory?
I have one doubt.
Yeah.
For like in our assignment and in our what is syllabus, there's a point, an analysis of leadership styles appropriate for remote working. So how are these
Mhm.
related to the remote
I'll tell you what. Now, these are some of the theories that they are studying for this.
where we have to
Uh-huh.
answer leadership styles for remote working? So what are we going to answer in this?
What is it? Question is, can you repeat?
Question is an analysis of leadership styles appropriate for remote working.
Okay, if it's about remote working, why are we studying this? If you have to in relation for between this thing and what we've studied earlier is that you know when it comes to remote work, people are usually not that much motivated to work extra, give extra hours, or put in extra effort. So either you give them incentives, which is comes under theory x, or either you held them responsible for certain things. For example, if they want to run a campaign, or if there is an NGO which is working, so what they usually do is they go to universities and make ambassadors. Those ambassadors have to, they just get happy. And I also have been through that stage of my life where I wanted to become an ambassador, thinking that, oh my God, I'd be a fancy model or like an example for people, or I'd become maybe famous, or people would know me, which kind of like worked in a way, but it wasn't at all like a celebrity thingy. So in my mind, I was like, fine, I'm an ambassador and I have to motivate people into contributing to this cause and all of this and that. Uh, then towards the end, I actually realized how useless it was. It's not obviously that useless, but like you do get to you do form perspectives towards the end of any job or any experience. So they have given you these two, all three actually. These are not the leadership styles. Number one, we have studied theory X and theory Y. Then we're gonna study empowerment, and then we're gonna see motivators and hygiene factors. So you have to, talk about all of these. You will be explaining all of these, and yes, so you will be explaining all of these. Why are we saying for again remote work? Because we are talking about mainly in all of these, we'll be talking about how to empower employees, how to make them work in an office environment. That is not different. Obviously you do give them incentives, you do punish people, you do give penalties, but is it the same for remote work as well or not? So that is why we are studying here, and you will be discussing only these theories which are here in this chapter. Got it?
Okay, ma'am. Because when I was googling this, when I put it on Google, there were some other styles, leadership
No, no,
styles
no, no, no.
called.
Ask for you can also use this, but ask for the slides as well, because the questions are mainly covering your slides, every every chunk of the slides, every chunk of the chapters that you're doing. So also,
So like
this is not strictly bound to this chapter of remote working. We have studied this in our management, marketing management. The course that we studied, this topic
I
was marketing management. So this is about how you manage people in a workspace. And since we are talking about remotely working, so these kind of apply to remote work as well. Okay.
okay, ma'am. So was the three lesson theory why and empowerment was given by the course, like given in the course itself, like in this course, people in organization?
Yes, yes, yes. Your syllabus is these slides are according to how your syllabus is designed. What is, whatever is it in your outline.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. You're welcome. So, anyways, if you have any concern, any confusion in this theory, you can tell me. But all of these theories are kind of interrelated. The theory is almost same. What are the two ways in which you can make people work? You force them or you motivate them. So this is what we are discussing. It's just the different names, okay? Just a few more things. But you can again, Google these theories, and you would get the limitations, the pros and cons, and all of that. But I just want to go through the details a little. Motivation is what drives us do things. This is one thing that we studied here. Either you motivate people, either you coerce them. Motivation comes under the theory Y part of this theory, which is the intrinsic rewards. Without motivation we wouldn't get anything done. Everyone has different things that different factors that motivate them. It could be money or fame, could be helping people or making the world a better place for others to live, or but again, everyone, all of us, got a drive and intention, and that intention could be empowered by motivation. So limitations of theory X, although it emphasizes on the importance of meeting people's needs. You give them what they want and they'll do work for you. It does not recognize that people have different needs. This means that people may not respond well to certain types of motivation. For example, if you're saying that, okay, if you guys work this much hard, we're gonna give you maybe something, anything. It could be maybe a certain sum of money, promotion, or so. It is possible for all of us to not get motivated by that incentive. I may want different things in my life, you may want different things in your life. So that is the limitation of theory X, that if employers they put something, could be, for example, when it comes to remote working. If I am especially in Isaac, it work this is how it works. So in Isaac, I have worked in there. I don't know whether you are aware of that organization or not, but it's the world's largest non for profit organization. So which has like two products, and it is like cross cultural exchange and leadership. So their incentives are pretty different. They were like, you know what, if you do this, so we can send you for for to work here or to work there. For me, it wasn't something to get motivated by. It wasn't my driving factor. Why? Because I was not allowed to go anywhere else, to go to another city or to a place. I have to be at home by 8, and that is my time. That these are the rules for myself, so I can't I have to abide by the rules. I have to be on time. So that wasn't something that could motivate me. So that is how it also works. Certain things, they may people may respond to certain things differently. It's not possible for all of them to respond in the same way as planned. Another limitation of theory X is that it ignores the fact that motivation can change over time. In other words, even though you meet an individual's need today, that might not ensure the person's motivation in the future. If someone wants to be something here today, he or she might change that perspective in the future. So sustainability of thoughts is a problem. And then when it comes to limitations of theory Y, so it focuses on, as I said earlier, intrinsic motivation, which is like self-esteem and self-respect, or value, etc., etc. You want to be helpful for people, you want to make others happy, etc., etc. So it does, but it does not consider the fact that people have different motivations at different times. Therefore, it cannot predict what type of motivation will people use in any given situation. For example, if in Isaac it also works, okay, if you work nicely, if your performance is good, you may become a leader. But a team leader gets to work more. So why would I want to become a team leader? There are people who want to opt for such roles that wouldn't work for me. So again, you can't predict the behaviors of people, their response to their feedback. Also, it fails to acknowledge that people can be motivated by both internal and external factors. It's not always intrinsic factors that motivate people. Most of the time there is external factors. For me, most of the time it was, I never wanted to be a leader if I'm not getting paid, or if I'm not getting additional external benefits. These factors, or the motivators. Although people may report that they do not care about money, which is external motivation, this does not mean that they actually don't want to earn enough money, because who doesn't want money? Everyone wants to earn more and more and more and more and more. So these were the limitations that I wanted to talk about. Again, I want to repeat it for you guys. For 3x, it assumes that people are, motivated by. For 3x, it says that, people have different needs, so you can't predict, or you can't predict how they behave to. And this is limitation for X and Y same. You can't predict how people would react to certain motivators. If you put a certain sum of money in front of people, not everyone would be attracted to that money or motivated by that sum of money. Similarly, if you put up any responsibility or any other thing, any intrinsic factor there, so it is not possible for everyone to behave in the same way. Another limitation of X is that, it can change over time. And for Y, it's also the same, that it can change over time. They may not care for something today, but that could change tomorrow. and also the fact that people are not only motivated by the internal factors but also by external factors. It's mostly by external factors. It's not always about making others happy. You can't be hungry and die on the roads while making others happy. You have to be happy yourself, you know to make others happy. So yeah, next we have empowerment. So Cantor's theory of structural empowerment used a discussion of organizational behavior. Oh yeah, we started this in organizational behavior, OB, and empowerment. According to this theory, empowerment is promoted in work environments that provide employees with access to information, resources, support, and the opportunity to learn and develop. This is pretty much self-explanatory, where they're saying that empowerment, this is how you empower people when you trust them with information, when you give them access to the resources that you have, when you give them enough emotional and financial support, and when you give them the opportunity to learn and develop in their own safe space, you could say. Or if that motivation is enough, if that empowerment is enough to let them get out of their comfort zone and work. So that is empowerment. As the word says, you empower people, you trust them, you build their motivation, you become a source of their success. Employee empowerment varies based on an organization's culture and work design. Well, obviously that is culture. Why? Because people make the cultures, people form the cultures. So working in organization, if it's an autocratic thing, where you take orders and you obey them and that's it, then I don't know how their empowerment will work. But today, if we talk about organizations that are moving towards the women empowerment, so they are hiring a certain portion, a certain ratio of women also, or most of the, not the most, but new businesses, they are hiring females also, because they know females are maybe hardworking also, though they do have a lot of other commitments. There could be cultural barriers, but they're hardworking and they can do equally good, if not more, than men. So okay, I'm not promoting any feminism here, but that's what I'm saying, that culture. So this is the culture that we follow there, empowerment, the culture of empowerment, or the culture of, even if you empower your people on working, even just to a clap or maybe a smile could make them happy, could empower them, then why not? Job enlargement differs from job enrichment. So can anyone explain me what is job enlargement and what is job enrichment? Job enlargement is horizontal expansion, and enrichment is vertical expansion. It's there on the slides. Just explain to me, what is it? Job enlargement refers to increasing the number of tasks to be performed by an employee to reduce work related boredom, and enrichment is our motivational tool which allows more decision making power and work related authority to employees. So enrichment, as we have seen here, it's about when you give more decision making power to people or work related authorities to people, that is job wait guy enrichment is that also about when you upgrade someone, when you give them promotion, could be also a raise of pay, when there are extrinsic rewards also involved in there. Then there is a job enlargement, which is just to add more duties and an increased workload, or to give diverse duties. For example, if I'm working in an IT department, so I can also work in the I can just shift my, I can work in the marketing department on the same position, maybe, or just there's just like an expansion of a vertical expansion of duties. You don't get any, pay raise for that or other financial benefits. So that is the difference. Again, in job enrichment, there is a vertical expansion, or you move vertically up the ladder, you get a promotion or that. Whereas in horizontal promotion, horizontal enlargement, or you could say job enlargement, you work on the same level, your position remains same, but you get to handle more duties or etc things. Okay, task one, attending calls. Task two, interacting with the clients. Task three, making outbound calls. So that is an example of you could say job enlargement, where she is firstly attending the calls, but now she's also doing interacting with the clients. Could be the clients on the call or physical or clients in person. Since we are talking about remote jobs, so it could be clients on the web or via computers. Or then third one is making outbound bound calls. She's also making calls. So that is a thing of where different duties, there are three tasks that she is performing. So that is job enlargement. Okay, now this is works two factor principles, where we talked about motivators and hygiene factors. So does anyone have any problem with the recent slides? So in this Frederick Herzberg theory, first of all, just like a little intro to that, it explained that employee satisfaction has two dimensions. There is hygiene, there is motivation. So as defined in the slide, you can see there are hygiene factors, there are motivator, and there are motivators. So hygiene issues such as salary and supervision. Now that is how they have defined different things. In and the case of the first theory that we studied, it was about theory X and theory Y, where we talked about theory X has like extrinsic reward, theory Y has intrinsic reward. So here we have hygiene issues, salary, supervision, decrease in employees, dissatisfaction with the work environment, and then motivators are such as recognition, achievement, make workers more productive, creative, and committed. So like hygiene issues are the things that can decrease employees dissatisfaction, and motivators are things that can increase employees satisfaction with the work. So that is the difference. So and dissatisfiers are satisfiers mostly, motivators are satisfiers, dissatisfier hygiene factors are the dissatisfiers. In the motivators we can talk about performance. So in the hygiene factors, which are also dissatisfiers, it could be anything which can create dissatisfaction. Could be salary, could be relationship with employees, the working environment is not so good, the office space is not good, the boss may be not nice or maybe nice. It can create dissatisfaction. Not necessarily I'm talking about the decrease in salary or the bad workspace. No, it could be about it. It's just indicating that these are the factors that can trigger the dissatisfaction. The policies, rules, the quality of supervision that you're getting, relationship with the supervisors, with the environment there, all of those things. Now, as we discussed here, I think you guys are clear about what are motivators and what are hygiene factors. Once again, motivators are satisfiers and hygiene factors are dissatisfiers. So, as job satisfaction, it is influenced by motivator factors, and job dissatisfaction, it is influenced by hygiene factors, right? So, these are just factors that they have defined: achievement, recognition, responsibility, the work itself, advancement, personal growth. And then in the job dissatisfaction, you can see working conditions, co-worker relations, policies and rules, supervisor quality, base wage, salary, however is it. And then improving the motivator factors increases job satisfaction. If you improve or work on the improving means increasing the motivator factors. If you work on these factors, then that are gonna increase or add to the satisfaction of your job, of your personal, that is gonna add to the personal satisfaction. But if you work on the improving the hygiene factors decreases job. If you work on the hygiene factors or the factors which are also called satisfiers, for example, the working conditions are not good, or co-worker relations are not good, so that can add to your dissatisfaction. So that is the whole Herzberg's two factor principles, and two factors are motivators and hygiene factors.
No questions, ma'am.
All right. So that is brings us to the end of this chapter, guys. If you have any questions, you can ask. Here in this chapter, we talked about what is, the implications of remote working, what is remote work, what is remote work too, well, why we started here in this under this subject. People in organizations, it's not about just about the physical organizations, but also about the remote organizations or collaborative organizations where they allow hybrid work formats also. Then we studied three models, the leadership styles. Number one, theory X, theory Y. Number two, empowerment. And number three, this one, which is the Herzberg's motivator and hygiene factor model or theory, whatsoever it is. So these are the things. There's not nothing much. You can take help from the slides for your course, for your assignments that you get, because I think most of the assignments that you get, they are pretty much from the slides. So get the slides, search those topics on internet, and you can get ample information from there. If you have any questions, you can ask me, or we can end the session here. Okay, Hira, you may leave. Thank you so much for being here. Allah Hafiz. Take care.